Everybody, welcome to the Kings pregame show on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. We're going to get you ready for tip-off. As always, hard to believe that it is early November. And if you were watching today's earlier programming, 4 o'clock with Jerry Reynolds, this is a game tonight against the Portland Trailblazers that Jerry thinks could be a must-win. You don't hear must win very often at this time in the season, under 10 games into the season. So we'll get into that as well. Big night for Grant and I. We'll get into that too. You are tuned in to the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter. Stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball.
Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Foley. That is a major league smush.
All right, welcome in. Appreciate you being here. This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. All right, let's get to your comments first and foremost. We're going to have a little bit shorter of a pregame show tonight because Grant and I are going to be doing a watch party on the Pro Sports Fans app during the game. Now, very important, nothing changes here on If You Don't Like That. We will be right back here on YouTube and Twitter Live for halftime with Jerry Reynolds and also the postgame show to wrap things up. But it is a exciting and busy night. So the Portland Trailblazers come into town with a Kings team that is desperately looking for a win at this early part in the season. The Sacramento Kings 7.5-point favorites tonight. Do you feel confident about 7.5 points coming off of what we saw in the past couple games in Houston? I mean, they couldn't even score the ball. They couldn't get over 100. So we can get into that in a little bit. Kings, De'Aaron Fox out again. Mike Brown gave no update on De'Aaron's status. Same with Trey Lyles. Trey will be out. As for the Blazers, Scoot Henderson out. They've got a laundry list. Anthony Simmons, Scoot. I already said Scoot. We've got Ish Wainwright, Robert Williams III, and also Scott Henderson. He's important to what Portland does. So this is really a game. On paper, the Kings should have no problem taking care of, especially with Fox out. That shouldn't even matter with the Portland Blazers team that is basically undermanned and without their main guys. I mean, certainly Jeremy Grant is still going to be there. He's averaging just over a pinch or just over 20 points a game at 20.6. But, we're looking for answers, and I want to get to some of your comments here in a second, and we'll kind of address what we think's going on and really what the path forward for at least the next 48 minutes tonight's going to be for the Kings. Now, if you want to feel a little bit better about what we saw in Houston, just to give you a quick update, the Rockets are currently up 70-47 on the Lakers. So we talked about it on the 4 o'clock show with Jerry Reynolds. Is it possible that the Kings or the Rockets, are a better team than what we expected? Very well could be. It's still early in the season, but the Rockets are playing really good basketball right now. Portland, they've got 3 wins already in this early season. That's one more than the Kings. They had a 3-game winning streak before their last game. So anyways, let's get to some of your comments. I wanted to get this one up first. Rudy had this in. He's talking about playing McGee and Sabonis at the same time. I don't think you're going to see that. I think that's a really bad idea. Because Sabonis has struggled from the perimeter so far this season. He struggled in general. He only had 8 points against the Rockets on 4 shots. 4 shots with De'Aaron Fox out. That's hard to explain. But McGee is so limited with what he can do offensively. He's really good with the pick and roll. We've seen that early on in this season. but he's just going to jam up the paint if you play the two of them together. And it would lead to possible double teams at times on Sabonis. And granted, yeah, you can throw it to McGee, but there's only a few places you can throw it to McGee. You got to hit him right in the hands, or you got to throw it up high. And I just don't see that being a combination that Mike Brown is going to turn to. Let's get to Lydia. And I think Lydia hits the nail on the head, and Jerry Reynolds and Grant agree with this. If the Kings lose tonight, they'll be booed off the floor, and rightfully so. Absolutely. I think everybody now is looking for a finger to point at, somebody to blame right now for the way that the Kings are playing. And, it's across the board. You look at their front court. Harrison didn't do much the other night against Houston. I mean, I'm not going to run down the players because the bottom line is the effort was not there. And I don't think Sacramento tonight, the fans, are going to put up with it. If you see another performance like we saw, or two performances like we saw in Houston, it's going to be a problem tonight. So I appreciate you guys getting these comments in. Let's see. Hey, Ryan, shout out to my mom who is operating the main wide game camera for the Blazers TV broadcast tonight. Shout out to her. That's awesome. It's her first time operating camera for an NBA linear TV broadcast. Go Kings. Very, very cool. That is awesome. I'm sure that you guys are very excited about that. There's something to look forward to for the game tonight. If you're watching in Portland, Cody, light the beam. Yes, indeed. That beam, it's going to take a better effort than we think tonight to light that beam. It really is. In my opinion, it starts with Harrison Barnes. The reason I say it starts with Harrison Barnes is you look at the Kings roster right now, specifically their starting five, which really interesting. The Kings are very consistent about announcing changes to the lineup, starting five. Mike Brown in his pregame presser said he was not announcing anything about the lineup or any changes to the lineup. So that kind of tells you the mindset that he's operating under. At least with the media, at least with the fans. I'm sure it's somewhat the same within the locker room. Certainly Sabonis, Monk, they're going to get minutes, but outside of them, I could see Mike Brown playing a lot of different combinations. You saw it in the first half against Houston. On Monday night, you saw Jordan Ford coming into the game very early. So I think that's something of note that we need to put in there. But I was saying, getting to Harrison Barnes, he's the only one in that starting five that can create his own shot and can open things up for everybody else. You got to take Davion Mitchell out of the picture right now. Davion is not able to penetrate or be a threat to penetrate for the Kings offense right now, which really closes things down. How many times did we see the Kings with four guys standing around the perimeter during this short road trip to Houston? Just swinging the ball around, no cuts. It was very stagnant. So with the Kings lineup, there are a bunch of set shooters. You look at Keegan Murray, that's what he thrives on. You look at Kevin Huerter, set shooter for the most part. But Harrison Barnes, he can get down low and he can post up pretty well. Usually he can get a size advantage. And we saw that in the first game at Utah. Harrison had his way with the Utah Jazz. So I would expect a heavy dose of Harrison, because if he can do that down low, that's going to open up the perimeter for some of those set shooters, because the Blazers are going to have to pay Harrison extra attention tonight. So keep an eye out for that. What is up, my friend? All the way in Africa. Let's go, Kings. Light the beam tonight. See you guys at the watch party. Thank you, Rhino and Grant. We appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, exactly. Lakers down 35 right now. And here we go. More comments. Houston might be better than we thought. Absolutely could be. I mean, if I told you at the start of the season, with the way the Kings had the schedule set up with 2 games in Houston, that they would be 13th in the Western Conference right now, I don't think a lot of people would be believing me on that. So, guys, this is a big game. Again, Jerry Reynolds says this is a must-win game for the Kings. And like Lydia said at the top, they're going to get booed off the floor if they do not perform tonight. And it's not even performing. I think it is about winning. She's right there. So let's get to Carf really quick. Why do I feel like this is a must win this early in the season? See, right there. A lot of people saying that. Cody, yes, indeed. Ayton, he's going to be a handful. I know he's not the same player he was in Houston or in Phoenix, excuse me. But any big man with length gives the Kings problems. And Ayton's pretty, he's explosive too. So, he can be a problem up top, lob threat. The Kings haven't seen a ton of guys down low that are big lob threats like JaVale McGee. Granted, that's one of the few things that JaVale has really thrived at this season, but you're gonna have to worry about Ayton. So good point bringing that up. I don't know if I'm gonna go this far. If the Kings don't beat the Blazers, I will stop watching. Well, please don't stop watching us then. I'm just kidding. But no, you know what? Give him a chance. It's early in the season. Again, you don't have De'Aaron Fox. Now, that doesn't excuse what we are seeing offensively. We were talking about it earlier today in the 4 o'clock show. And the Kings, you got to think about, again, your Herders, your Keegan Murrays. They got a lot of open looks last year to start the season. They really did. And they were knocking them down. Credit to them for hitting their shots. But those guys aren't getting open set shots anymore. Kevin Huerter, it's coming off of a curl. It's, sometimes a little bit of a fade there. Keegan Murray, he has not been completely balanced on his jump shot the last couple games. So you're going to have to find a way to get them involved, get them open looks in the sense of the offense that we know right now that Mike Brown's running. If not, you've got to look at adjusting the offense. I mean, if the Kings come out and fail tonight and do not play well offensively, you can't ignore the numbers. The Kings are middle to bottom of the pack in every category where they were in the top 4 or 5 last year. And you kind of have to beg the question, if this continues longer into the season, was last year offensively an anomaly? Mike Brown keeps talking about, we're not worrying about the offense. We want to be more physical. We want to focus on the defense. We know the offense will come. Well, will it? I mean, the Kings, we missed the playoffs 16 straight years with mediocre offense. Now, granted, Mike Brown was not coaching those teams, but you can't take 1 year and say this team's going to be perfectly fine offensively. Things change. Teams figure out ways to guard you, and Jerry Reynolds said it great earlier on today. The Warriors set a blueprint out there to guard the Kings, to guard the unguardable offense, the offense that's the #1 ranked offense in the history of the NBA. They stopped it in a 7-game series, and we've seen similar things that teams are doing so this season. But again, you got to look at what the other teams are doing, but you have to first focus on what the Kings are doing. And it's just stagnant, not a lot of movement, has to get better indeed. The Rockets are not any slobs. I agree. A lot of comments about the Rockets series and the Rockets being a decent team. I mean, they are up right now 21 on the Lakers, and the Lakers took the Kings right down to the wire and into overtime earlier in the season. What is up, Jay? The Kings need to play all 4 quarters like their hair is on fire. We need to see maximum effort all game. Well, yeah, absolutely. You would need to see that if De'Aaron Fox was playing, because it's just a staple of how the Kings played last year. The games that the Kings played poorly last year, especially against teams that they should have beaten, it was low energy. Appreciate it. Rich, my San Diego man, what is going on? Shout out from Aztec country. Light the beam tonight. Gotta get her done. Yes, indeed. They do have to get her done. Now, I want to take a quick second because we've talked about the watch party that we're doing tonight. That is on the Pro Sports Fans app, PSF app. So I put together a quick 30-second video, but because of the angle and the setup of it, I only want you to pay attention to the last 10 seconds or so. That's going to make more sense. So I'm going to talk you through the first 15 seconds, even though I want you to kind of ignore it. So what you need to do is, whether you have an Apple device or you have an Android device, go to the App Store or go to the Google Play Store, type in Pro Sports Fans app, and you'll get PSF, Pro Sports Fans, come up, download the app. It's going to prompt you to create a login, create a screen name, whatnot. Put that information in, then it will ask you what teams do you want to follow. Choose the Kings as one of those. And once you're all signed in, the Kings will come up on your main dashboard. You'll select the Kings feed, and once you are in the Kings chat room, you will see our live cast and our watch party as soon as it's up and running. So let me throw this video up really, really quick. Again, ignore the first 15 seconds because it's cut off a little bit, but I do want you to see the back end of it that shows PSF and the Kings thread and such. So here we go. So there, I just wanted you to see that last part. So wanted you to see the PSF opening screen. Sorry, the top part of the screen cut off there. But we will be there for pretty much the entire first half and then the entire second half. But everything else stays the same. Come back to if you don't like that for our halftime and our post-game coverage. Grant and Jerry will be here at halftime, and Grant and I will be getting the post-game show going for you and taking care of things on that end. So I appreciate it. Looks like we're getting some notes in here. Keon Ellis is starting tonight. All right. If that is true, and it looks like it is. All right, Keon. So that's why Mike Brown did not want to comment. So, hey, Keon played good in the fourth quarter. He brought some instant offense. Now, granted, it was in, time where the Rockets weren't playing a lot of their starters. You could call it garbage time. It wasn't with a lot of the Kings starters, but he can fill it up. He can score. He's really improved his game, played well in Stockton. There's a reason that the Kings brought him back again. So Keon Ellis into the starting lineup for the Kings. I would also look at the point guard position tonight too. Malik Monk needs to get extended minutes. And when Malik Monk comes in the game, you got to run something different on offense. You have got to do away with the dribble handoff. You absolutely need to do pick and rolls. Shoot, you might need to even do pick and rolls when Malik is not on the court. One thing I did notice in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game on Monday night, the Kings were very intentional about their sets and what they were running offensively. It's got to be the same tonight. But if Mike Brown needs to tweak it for the personnel, tweak it for the personnel. Now, getting back to Keon Ellis really quick, I get Mike Brown. He said nobody's position is sacred. He said outside of Fox, outside of Sabonis, and you could probably throw Keegan Murray in there as well. But getting to Keon, if you're going to put him in the starting lineup, because he has not gotten a ton of minutes so far this season, you got to give him a little bit of an extended leash. Let him get some time under his belt with those guys, the starters I'm speaking of, and let him get his feet wet. Let him get comfortable. You cannot have a quick hook on him unless he is out there absolutely throwing the ball into the third row, not defending, picking up fouls. At that point, you obviously need to make a change, but let him get some minutes and let him get going, or at least try to get going. Give him a chance. That's all I'm saying. What do the Kings have to lose tonight? The other guy, Jordan Ford. Give me some more Jordan Ford. He filled it up in the summertime for the Kings. I think with the team that the Kings have right now, with Fox out, with Mitchell doing nothing offensively, put Jordan Ford in there. What do you have to lose? Jordan Ford can run the offense a little bit better, and he gives you a better chance to score from the point guard position. So really appreciate this. Thank you. Oh, wait, the mustache. I meant to go to the one before that. But we'll see, GT. We'll see. Yeah, we'll get that checked out. This is what I wanted to put up. Got my PSF app ready to go. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that, David. it's going to be fun. I mean, everybody's wanted to see Grant, comment on the game while it's going on. He's not going to call the game, so don't expect that. Don't ask for it. Well, you can ask if you want. Maybe you'll get a rant. But to have him at your disposal, Grant, what do you think about that play? What should the Kings do here? What do you think about that substitution? That'll be cool. That's going to be a little bit different. And that's what the Pro Sports Fans app is really built around. It's about giving fans a seat at the table and allowing them to basically correspond in real time with the media casters that they've hired to cover each team. So it will be a lot of fun. Yes, holy moly, Jim Bob Boley. He will be back, Jerry Reynolds, at halftime. If you didn't get a chance, go check out the 4 o'clock show later tonight after all the Kings programming. That was really fun, as it always is with Jerry Reynolds. And if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up if you are enjoying the programming. Give us a like, and then also subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet to if you don't like that, we enjoy coming on here. You'll get notifications. We won't bomb you with emails, but you'll know when we will be coming on in the future. So I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet tonight, guys. We know what needs to be done. The Kings need to come out with energy. They need to come out, have a good first quarter, have a really good third quarter, regardless if they are ahead or they're behind, because that's something they've done inconsistently this entire season, and they struggled with last season. And Kings fans, if you're at Golden One Center right now, pick this team up. Please pick them up. Don't, at the first chance you get, boo them if they make a mistake. Pick them up. Now, if they're down 20 going into halftime, boo them all you want. In fact, you can boo them whenever you want. That's your right as a fan when you buy a ticket. But if you care about this team, stick with them, pick them up. You wouldn't be watching this show right now if you didn't care about this basketball team. They're going through a tough stretch. It's an 82-game season. We got to remember that. But they've got to look at every game as a new season, and that starts tonight with the Portland Trailblazers, an undermanned Portland Trailblazers squad. So before we get out of here, because I want to give everybody an opportunity to get over to the PSF app and get that downloaded for our watch party, don't forget about our favorite restaurant in the area, Bennett's Westside Grill. That's the new location in Rockland. If you haven't checked it out already, it is just as good as the other locations in Roseville and also off of Howe and Fair Oaks. They've got everything you can think of. They've got prime cuts of steak. They do prime rib on the weekends. Excellent seafood, great burgers, amazing service, great portions. What more can I say about Brian Bennett and his team over at Bennett's? Also, they've got a great private dining room at their new location. They also have one at the location at Howe and Fair Oaks. Check that out if you're going to be doing a Christmas party or get together during the holidays. Awesome place to have that. Tell them that you heard about Bennett's here on If You Don't Like That. And as always, Bennett's, you can order it to go too. So get some Bennett's, do the watch party. We would love it. So again, Grant and I will be over on the PSF app. That's going to start roughly around 7:05, 7:10. That's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for the watch party. We'll be taking your comments. We can even bring people up on video if you want to talk a little bit. But don't forget, we will be right back here at halftime and for the post-game show on If You Don't Like That on YouTube and Twitter Live. So Kings, Blazers tonight. Let's hope that we are talking about a Kings win at the Final Horn and the beam is lit. We will see all of you over on the PSF app. Have a great game night. Go Kings.